Sifu has a grip on me that's tighter than getting my head crushed by the thunder thighs that is Emma Frost. Sifu is all about hands. Got slaps, grabs, weapons, dick punches, and pussy punches. We don't discriminate here. The coolest part of Sifu is that when you die, you get older. From just a man bun, you grow a sick beard and ponytail and learn new moves. Hitting certain age milestones will also increase your damage and decrease your max health. Cause, you get better at Kung Fu the longer you do it, but you can't outrun the existential dread of joint pain. Sifu takes inspiration from movies such as The Raid Redemption, which can be seen in the first level, with its apartment complex where drug users and makers stay and operate. Certain sections here are akin to Old Boy and Daredevil with the hallway section and its framing, which is also in the first level. The second level is in a nightclub, which is pretty much John Wick. So you play as this child of a Kung Fu master that gets attacked by this guy, Yang, and his subordinates. Yang is a former student who seemed to have a bitter past with him, and Yang has returned to get something from him. The master tells Yang to get bent, you fucking loser.
You were a mistake.
And they begin to fight. They look like they are evenly matched, with the master having the upper hand for a bit, but in the end, Yang beats the master, killing him.
Only tough people last.
They then notice the child hiding, and Yang tells Donnie from the Wild Thornberries here to show him what they do to younglings. Because of Kung Fu Jesus powers, the child survives and has trained for 8 years to take revenge against Yang and his Ginyu force. So you have a hub world with 5 levels in total, each with its own challenges and the boss, which are Yang and friends from the prologue. We got Fajar the botanist in the squats, featuring an apartment complex, drugs, and that sweet dank kush.
Oh my god.
Sean the fighter in the club, where apple-bottom jeans are indeed boots with the fur. Kuroki the artist, but I'd rather call her a piece of shit. In the museum, where it's okay to destroy artworks and installments because I'm Kung Fu Jesus, and this boss fight is really just great for my mental health. Jinfeng the CEO in the tower, where we kill games and you own nothing. And Yang, the leader in the sanctuary, who is the epitome of equality, killing the elderly and children, who now runs a wellness spa. So the game isn't technically too long if you're not a complete shitter, but if you're coming into this game fresh, well, goddamn, you're gonna be beaten down harder than Ethan Klein's fair use lawsuit. I played this game in Disciple difficulty, which is its normal difficulty, and I still got shit on hard, and it took me a while to finish. What contributes to the game's difficulty is that the age you finish the level at will be carried over to the next level. So you start at age 20 and it's game over if you die at around age 70. If you finish the level at age 54, the next level will start at age 54. This means you have less lives to work with on top of learning the level. If you also die in quick succession, your age will increase dramatically through this death counter system. Dying will increase your death counter by 1, and your age will increase by whatever the death counter is. So if you die at 20 with a death counter of 3, your age will be 23. I hope I explained this well enough. You will reduce your death counter by progressing through the level or by purchasing a death counter reset with the shrines that are scattered throughout the game. Don't do what I did and just play the next level when you're old and crusty and just brute force your way through on your first run. It's not worth it. You can play previous levels again for a better run and farm XP for your moves, which I think you're supposed to. Speaking of moves, let's move on to combat. You have a light and heavy attack, and using them in certain combinations along with the movement keys will result in unique combos and moves which have unique properties like gap closers, evasion, pushing enemies away, knockdown, and attacking multiple enemies at once. You gain more moves by purchasing them with XP, which is gained by defeating enemies, and you access the shop through dying, shrines, and this tree here in your hub world. Moves must be unlocked permanently because restarting a level or getting a game over will remove all moves that are not unlocked permanently. You can imagine my shock when I realized my whole loadout is gone mid-combat. Focus on a few moves which you think you need to unlock. I recommend Snap Kick for your gap closer, Chasing Trip Kick to knock down people you pushed, Duck Strike for evasion so you can keep attacking, and Environmental Mastery so you can throw stuff at people without having to pick it up. For weapons, you got 3 types. One-handed blunt weapons like bats and bamboo sticks, blades, and two-handed staffs. While these are fun to use, I don't use them too much as I have too much fun throwing hands. It also has its own unique moveset, kind of, but you still have access to your basic moves like your push and sweep kick. Focus attacks are like VATs from Fallout, where you attack certain body parts and leave the enemy open to follow-up attacks. You can do focus attacks when you fill up your bar on the lower left, and you gain meter by dodging. We talked about punching people in the face, but you also need to defend yourself against your enemies. While you can just dash away from enemies like a pussy,
Why are you running?
what you should be doing is to stare danger in the face, stand your ground, and defend against the attacks of your enemies like you have Ultra Instinct. You have options of blocking, dodging, deflecting, and parrying. Blocking increases structure, which works like stamina. Both player and enemies have this. If you block a move, your structure fills up. Having a full structure bar leaves the player dazed and vulnerable for follow-up attacks, and enemies dazed and open for a finishing move, which the player will be prompted to do when available. Dodging requires you to time your input to the enemy's attacks. You can dodge 2 kinds of attacks, which are sweep attacks and everything else, and dodging wrong will get you hit. Dodging attacks successfully will guarantee you to punish with your own moves. The best thing about dodging is seeing the enemy hit their own people just because you dodged them, which is pretty funny to see. Deflecting is guarding before getting hit, just like parrying in most games. This prevents your structure from being broken and destroys the enemy structure. Parrying is deflecting specific attacks, and this leaves the enemy for a counterattack that leaves them stunned. Now let's talk about who you'll be fighting against. There is a good amount of enemy variety, one for each level, excluding the gangster, which are the grunt fodder units. Each enemy has its own moveset that you need to learn to properly defend against. Coupling that with fighting hordes of enemies at one time with a mixture of these enemy types is another reason for Sifu's difficulty. One thing that helped me out here was the practice mode, where you get to practice going against each enemy type in a safe environment. Keep in mind you only unlock the enemy for practice after clearing the level for the first time. The bosses are a mixture of free wins to sweet titty shits. The fuck am I supposed to do? Specifically the first two, Fajar and Sean, which have pretty predictable attack patterns that can be learned on the spot, and a mixture of dodging and heavy attacks should easily do the trick. The third boss, who I call a steaming pile of dog doo-doo earlier because Jesus Christ, I cannot tell you what the fuck she's doing. It's a bitch to defend against, and her weapon being bladed means you can't really block effectively. Well, it's really just her first phase, and fighting her second phase gets easier, but it's getting there that's the problem. The fourth boss has you fighting an elderly woman with one arm. But I believe in equality, so I have no qualms with laying the smackdown on the wrinkly and the handicapped. Do you get it? Handicapped? It's a hands joke. The fifth and last boss is Yang, and I will admit it took me a while. What makes him difficult is that you don't have access to your focus moves, which makes sense because he knows all your moves since you know the same martial arts style and has some moves that your father has not taught you yet. He's difficult but fair, and I gotta say that this boss fight is a pretty fun one, and I sometimes just load up the last level again just for this boss fight. After him, you beat the game, but you learn that it's not the good ending and you need something called Ude. I'm probably saying it wrong. So here's a bald German man saying it. So you have to spare all the bosses to get the good ending, which just means that you have to fight all the bosses again, bring them to their second phase, fill their structure twice while not killing them. It's not as hard as you're more familiar with the bosses, and what's hard about this one really is to just make sure that they have enough health to be spared before they die. Don't worry, you keep all your keys when you pick them up for the first time, so you have a shortcut to them, if you want. So congrats, you finished the game, and you got the good ending. Does that mean there's nothing else to do but just run the story again? Well, yeah, sure, you can do that. There's still master difficulty, which I'll be doing another time. Maybe a video? Maybe a stream? You also have modifiers which can change certain aspects when you run story mode levels. You can start the level with an unbreakable weapon of your choice. You can start the level at age 70 and each death makes you younger. Getting hit once will cause you death. You can make it as easy or as hard as you you want. You can even change your move list to use moves from other characters. You can even change the drip of your character with unlockable costumes. Another option is the arena mode, which has sets of challenges that you can complete, which will unlock new sets of challenges. Each set has a theme, and some levels are based on certain movie scenes, like the Raid Redemption, when Rama fought a bunch of dudes with machetes in a tight corridor, or The Matrix, where Neo fought a bunch of Mr. Smith agents in the rain. There's even an animation of Sifu in secret levels where they get their own episode. Ignoring the huge inconsistencies like how Sean is the one who killed you instead of Fajar, or the big bad is also Sean when it was Yang who caused all of this. Even the runtime of this episode is a fucking joke, which is roughly 7 minutes of runtime, which is apparently shorter than the other episodes. I haven't watched the other episodes, but checking on Google says so, but either way. 7 minutes is just too short because when it gets good, holy shit, it gets good. The quiet moments have a lot of heart with this piece of dialogue which encompasses the main themes of Sifu, that talks about revenge, obsession, and that it's a cautionary tale reminding us that we are mortal and our time alive is limited. We must be conscious of how we spend that time, or before you know it, your life has passed you.
He told me you put 60 years of your life in them. Was it worth it?
You tell me.
But I'll leave it at that. Go watch it, it's still a good time. And I think that's about it. Go play Sifu, it's fun. Okay, bye.